Morning, everybody. So I thought I'd share this tweet with you guys because it's an interesting and relevant one to the conscious stack, conscious tech topics. So here we got Lenny Orchitsky talking about how this was in an interview with somebody that, he was having a chat with. And it says, using coding agents, well, is taking every inch of my 25 years of experience. I can fire up 4 agents in parallel and have them work on 4 different problems, and by 11 a.m., I am wiped out for the day. There is a limit on human cognition. Even if you're not reviewing everything they're doing, how much you can hold in your head at one time? There's a sort of personal skill that we have to learn, which is finding our new limits. What is a responsible way for us to not burn out and for us to use the time that we have? Now, I'm also seeing the effects of this across multiple different social media channels and platforms. You can see here, the more I use Claude, the more I find myself craving a long walk with zero inputs and just my brain wandering wherever it wants, right? They feel like they can do so much more with AI, but now it's so much that they literally need to disconnect. And so I ended up writing an article in response to this tweet because I felt like I had in my mind needed some more thinking time. And I think what's interesting is that the way that I use AI these days is it's adapting. So at the beginning, it was very tempting to just, of course, try and automate everything through AI. But I think one of the benefits for people who are working with the technology, those who have at least learned the fundamentals and principles earlier on in their careers, is that they understand that intimately so that the technologies and the tools are actually supporting what they already know at a fundamental level, as opposed to replacing some fundamental thinking skills or understanding. And so from this, I also put it through my own sequence and process, and then took this article, put it into Notebook LM to see what it could produce. I created a video, wanted it to act more as an explainer to complement the writing aspect. And with writing, I think what's really useful is when you have an idea on something, actually narrate or dictate it to your phone. You can use AI to help draft the thing, but I still manually go through my articles and read through to see if what it drafts is actually what I would say or not. And I think this part is super important. Some people will say you don't really need to do that, but I think if you are somebody who wants to learn, you should. Because taking time to sync your biology as a carbon-based being with the speed that is coming through silicon-based artificial intelligence, there needs to be an intentional slowdown on the silicon side for us. And that's not to say that, like, okay, we are the bottleneck for AI. It's actually to say, well, we both need to kind of work together if we want to go far. Because there's that famous saying, I think it might be Nelson Mandela or some other proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I think this is a perfect case of that. And so looking back at this tweet, right, looking at the article here, if you want a link to any of this, please just let me know in the comments. And the video itself, I'm going to be sharing this with my lab members first, and then I will put this out probably next week or so you can see the video and how it's done. And this workflow here is super useful, at least for me, whereby you see something, you write about it intentionally, then you use a tool like Notebook LM to create supporting documents for the learning side, right? Because from here, you can create a quiz, slide deck, audio overview, video overview, etc., from a single concept. And this is only to support your original ideas, because the other part to this is how AI is essentially creating a linguistic monoculture. What I mean by that? Well, it was super interesting because there was a post by someone on LinkedIn here where this woman named Christina said that, okay, blah, blah. Experience started with a simple question. What if AI? Now, she says she called it the handshake. But what's interesting is that she isn't the only one that has called this particular scenario a handshake. Why do I say that? Because I actually also created something a few months prior called the Pingala Handshake Protocol. Okay. Now, this is interesting because what it means is that for anyone using AI, the statistical average of our use of it is causing us to think that we might have original thought when coming up with something potentially novel, but because of the use of the same words or same language, it actually makes it less novel. And so we are actually all being moved towards these statistical averages of large language models, which means that the language, the words that they're using, we end up adopting also and thinking that it's original because of the way that AI works and operates, right? If you're not careful, it can just tell you what you want to hear. And so we have to be very careful with this because this handshake problem causes us to start using the same words over and over again with each other independently, but thinking that we are actually coming up with something unique. And so this is where we have to be a lot more conscious of the way that we work with AI, the way that we use it, and of course, the way that we write. So what's going to become even more fascinating as we move forward is that although we are hitting cognitive limits, we are also starting to see the importance or the need for actually doing things without AI itself, because this forces us to actually think. And this is the whole aspect of the conscious stack movement. And if you want to learn more about that, just take a look at this site right here. Go to consciousstack.com. You can learn more about the movement here that's building with conscious technologists, but we're all about creating stacks for our tools and our tech more consciously, because the stack itself is what is now being called harness engineering. The tools around a certain thing, not just the individual tools themselves, because those individual tools are already being mastered by AI. And so what becomes important is your unique and intentional choice of tools in your personal stack that will help you, one, master the configuration, the lattice itself, versus trying to master the individual tools where AI is already mastering that.